the property becomes a honeypot. It always does. A honeypot to now start stealing wealth from the property owners. And this cycle will never end. It will never stop. There has never been a solution to it until Bitcoin. You see, what Bitcoin accomplished was, first of all, to dematerialize the property. You see, that which is physical can be confiscated. But what if we were to take what could be confiscated and take it in all of its value to a realm that can't be touched, felt, smelled, even seen, but it still has the value? So what if you could take your farm and make it frickin' disappear? How does someone steal a farm that they can't see? How do you steal a farm, an $8 million farm that you can't even locate? You can't see it. It's not in a specific location. It doesn't have dimensions. You can't touch it. You can't feel it. You can't lick it with your tongue. You can't smell it. Where the frick is the farm? Where is it? You can't take it. The first thing Bitcoin did was to dematerialize property. And many things in our lives have already been dematerialized. And we've gone over these talks many times before. Our music's been dematerialized. When's the last time you've held a freaking vinyl record? My dad used to have, my dad loved the Beatles. He had the vinyl record collection of the freaking Beatles. I listened to the Beatles, guys, my whole adolescent life. My whole childhood and adolescent life, every single day, my dad played Beatles in the house. Vinyl record. I couldn't even touch the collection. When's the last time you touched a freaking record? When's the last time you've touched a 45, a 45 or a full vinyl record, or even a CD, the more advanced version of music? You haven't touched music in years. Some of you've never touched a piece of music. You don't even know what that is. Music's been digitized, dematerialized. Movies. When's the last time I used to run down to Blockbuster to try to get the one of the 25 issues of a brand new movie release they were going to get? I tried to get there before everyone else because it was first come, first serve. Some of you don't even know what Blockbuster was or is. Doesn't even exist anymore. But you do know Netflix. You can't go to Netflix and pick a movie off the shelf. You don't touch a movie today. You don't see a movie today. You see pixels on a screen. If you touch your television screen, that's not the movie itself. You can't hold it. You can't go to the store and take it home to you like I used to take a movie home with me. You can't do that today. Movies have been dematerialized. I've got 50,000 photos in my phone. I'm speaking to you on a phone with 50,000 photos. I've got 20,000 videos on my phone. I've never touched them. I've never felt them like my mother did my baby pictures in her album. She used to pull out the album, flip through the photos. That's not done today. There's 50,000 photos, which I've never touched, never smelt, never seen. They're pixels on a screen, but they give me the same amount of joy. They give me the same amount of value. Our world has collapsed into the digital realm, and property was the last thing to go. In a way, one of the last things to collapse into this digital world is the world of property. And something really interesting happens with the advent of Bitcoin bringing about digital property. It made it, for the first time in the human experience, it made property unconfiscatable. Bitcoin accomplished what has never existed in the human experience, an era, a point in time where property stops being stealable, stops being takeable by force, Every war is about taking property by force. Every war in the world. That's why Bitcoin's called the peaceful revolution. Bitcoin collapsed property to the digital world, but that's not its major accomplishment, because that had started to be done by the internet. Its major accomplishment is that it made it unstealable, unconfiscatable. So let me give you an example of what I mean by this. You see, before Bitcoin existed, there was something called intellectual property. The internet introduced the idea of property that could not be touched, felt, seen, really experienced by the five senses. That had already been in existence before Bitcoin. So there was something called intellectual property, but you could steal intellectual property. This is why a whole barrage of laws came into existence to try to protect intellectual property. That was the name given to digitized property. So Bitcoin didn't create or bring about digitized property, intellectual property. The miracle that it pulled off was that it made it unstealable, unconfiscatable, untouchable by a human being. So now my property has gone to a place where not a single human being can touch it except me. I'm going to repeat that. Bitcoin created the miracle of taking property to a realm that property had never gone to, had never resided in. This new realm, no human being is allowed to touch the property, feel the property, see the property, smell the property, taste the property, except the owner of the property. That it is not stealable, it is not takeable, it is not confiscatable, except the owner of the property has the only right. We as a human species have done nothing for thousands of years but fought for property rights. That's all the human experience is. It's how do I get better and better property rights? And Bitcoin solved the mystery, created the miracle that humans have been searching for thousands upon thousands upon thousands, millions of years, in fact. How do I protect my clan? How do I stop another clan from taking what I have? How do I have this beautiful cave and it protects my clan? But how do I stop that cave from being taken by a more powerful clan that needs protection from the elements? I have all these tools that we spent a lot of time making. How do I protect these tools? Feed my family by killing animals to eat. How do I protect these tools which no one else can make from? How do I protect them from being stolen by people? How do I protect my tractors, my farm, my property, my land, my music, my this, my that? Bitcoin solved the confiscatable issue. It solved the inability to copy intellectual property. It solved the copy problem of intellectual property. So intellectual property was first made intellectual by the internet, but you could copy it. Therefore, we needed a set of laws to protect people from copying intellectual property like music. Once you collapse a physical song on a vinyl record into the digital world makes it easily copyable. So music went to the digital realm and became intellectual property, but you could copy it more easily in the digital world. Bitcoin comes along and solves the copy problem. You can't copy Bitcoin, which is the ultimate representation of digital value, digital property. You can't copy it. The first time in history, the first time in the human experience, you can't copy it. And also the first time you can't steal. If you can't copy it, you can't steal it. Well, that's not true. You can't copy it, but you also can't steal it. Bitcoin is unstealable. You can't confiscate it. You can't steal it. If you do it right, you can't. Bitcoin, having solved this, becomes the ultimate store of your property. Why would you want your music to stay as a vinyl record when now you can make your music invisible, untouchable, unseeable, unfelt, just hearable, but now it can't be stolen? You can make it digital. You can collapse it into the digital world. You can dematerialize it, which takes it out of the hands of people, and you can make it uncopyable and unstealable, unconfiscatable, but at the same time retain all of its value. This is total control now of your property. This is what we've been searching for all of this time. And so now, looked at properly, Bitcoin becomes the ultimate property. If Bitcoin can hold every form of property, every one, better than the older forms, why would you not collapse it into Bitcoin? If a stock can be printed again by the board members of the company, and you don't want that to happen, why would you not just move that value into something that can't be printed by a board or by other people, and that it would retain the value of that? So the value of my stock is $2 million, but it can be they can print more of it. They can dilute it. They can steal the value from me. They can create an inflation rate on. So why don't I just move the 2 million to Bitcoin where none of that can exist? It can't be stolen. It can't be taken. A man can't touch it. A human being can't influence it. There is no inflation rate tied to it, and there's no tax on it. They can't steal it from me via tax. They can't touch it. They can't see it. There's no dimensions to it, so they can't find it. They can't put their hands on it. When people understand that, when over time the growing number of population understands, whatever I consider a value or my property, if I move it there, it's in the safest place in the world. When people start to understand this, they're going to start moving all the value they have placed in their different, the value under my mattress that's going into Bitcoin, the value in a hole in my backyard that's going into Bitcoin now. I'm dematerializing it into Bitcoin. It's safe there. My stocks, 90% of it, I'm cashing out of it. I'm putting the 90% of the value into Bitcoin, because 10% because I like these companies. I know the owner, this and that. They give me perks. I like them. All right, fine. It's like gambling. I like to gamble. I know I'm going to lose, but I like to gamble. Okay, fine. 90% goes to Bitcoin, 10%. I like to gamble. Nothing wrong with that.